My name is Josh Graham, the voice of East Carolina women's basketball and the host of Pirate Talk, and you're listening to 91.3 WZMB Greenville, disturbing the mainstream. Today marks the first of 11 shows we will have here in our Mendenhall Radio studios, and we are so glad you were with us. However, and wherever you are listening, whether it's the live stream at www.ecu.edu/WZMB, or, of course, on the radio waves on a rainy Monday afternoon in Greenville, North Carolina, we come at you. And although it's not a pretty day outside, it's always a great day to be a Pirate. And we got the head coach of the Lady Pirates, as we will for the next 11 weeks, with us in studio today. And if you want to give us a call, you can do so at 252-328-5210 or tweet us at WZMB913 and directly at _Josh D. Graham. But let's welcome in the fifth-year head coach of the East Carolina women's basketball program, that being Heather Macy. Coach, we're on the radio today. Now we got your own show, and we're so glad you were with us.
Hey,
here.
Josh, thanks so much for having me. Appreciate that a bunch. What's for lunch?
What's for lunch?
Chick-fil-A. Where's my Chick-fil-A, buddy?
See, the background behind this is a couple of years ago, I started doing the games for East Carolina women's basketball. And I would always come into practice, and you would notice that there was some consistency in what I would bring.
First off, let me tell the story, because Josh is going to tell the story in his own way.
Okay.
But this guy, I knew you were going to be a superstar, Josh, way back then when you would come to practice with lunch. I mean, obviously you come to practice for lunch, there's going to be great interviews going on. The problem was it was never lunch for me. It was just lunch for yourself as you would eat it and barbecue sauce going everywhere. Mm-hmm. But let's make it a point, though. I remembered you. You made it a memorable experience for sure.
Well, there is Chick-fil-A upstairs. Maybe after we're done here we can grab
get a little plug there. There you go.
And in addition to that, though, I mean, you have your own radio show now. And on Saturday, we talked about what we could expect from this. And I think you mentioned it's a combination of Dr. Phil, Howard Stern, basketball, and maybe a little bit of Oprah in there. That's a tough billing to live up to, but I think we can do it.
I'm not afraid, Josh. It's kind of how I am, right? We're undaunted over in athletics, and so we're not afraid of what we've got going today. I'm sure we'll have a great time and hope everybody enjoys it, and we've got plenty to talk about, I know, today.
We do. A little bit later on, we're going to have Itiana Taylor as our first Pirate profile, the junior college transfer who's had a great week and was actually an honorable mention, I think, this week for the conference's Players of the Week on the honor roll there. And then, obviously, we'll talk about the games that's happened the past week, including the 87-46 win against Houston, and then we'll have a little bit fun a little bit later on. But let's start with that game against the Houston Cougars. It was the first American Athletic Conference win for you all, 87-46, a fantastic game on Saturday in the Hoff Heights Pavilion.
No, I was real proud of the kids. I thought we defended and we rebounded. We kind of got back to who we are as a program and what our DNA truly is. And I've said all along, if we're defending and we're rebounding, nice that we shoot it well, we're going to be a really, really tough basketball team to beat. And I think that what you saw the other night was kids playing together, sharing the basketball, and just probably the best we've played all year long. And I was incredibly proud of them.
The manner in which you won has to be encouraging as well. Jada Payne, season high, 26 points. Jasmine Phillips, she was able to have her first career double-double, 23 assists as a team, 63% shooting from the three-point line. It was a complete performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, Jada Payne is a rock star. I mean, that's the only way you could put that. And then around her, you move Jasmine Phillips to a brand new position. She played point guard for us. And what an amazing job that she did in embracing that role. I mean, not just the performance, but embracing, coach, if that's where you need me to play, I got it. Let's go do it. And then you look around and you got Shay Nelson hit a huge three and was defending. And then I look around and I'm like, holy cow, we grabbed a couple of boards that were just, we snatched those things. We got up. Abria Trice pulled one that it just made me kind of take a second look. But a lot of really positives from that game that we'll be able to build on moving forward. And
you did it on the road nonetheless, something that's been a bit of a weakness for you guys the last couple of years.
Oh, we've attacked that. I think that we talk a lot as a program on what average good versus great is. And great is the progress in which all of us are working toward. But one of the things is on that whole train of thought is being able to attack what your weaknesses are and then go and correct them. So we brought that to the table in the offseason and said, this has been a weakness of ours. Let's not look away from it. Let's not act like it's not occurring. It is. Now how are we going to correct it? And so we did some things with changing practice environments, temperatures, noise in the gym, and midway through practice, we would leave our practice facility, go into Minji's. Midway through, we would leave Minji's, go back into the practice gym, changing environments to prepare for this. And then we went on the road in our non-conference strategically to go, okay, this is what we've been working for. Now let's go figure out ways to win on the road. And I think we have. I think that we've attacked that weakness, and now it's on to the next.
One of the things you do on the road as well, it doesn't matter what time you get into the gym, find a way to shoot around, get the kids familiar with the place they're going to be playing in before you even get involved with coaching them in a shoot-around setting.
Yeah, just another thing that we've adjusted. And to be honest with you, changed our entire schedule. So Simone Trice, our director of operations, she does an incredible job.
Yeah,
and I said, Simone, look, I know this is what we've been doing since you played for me. Here's how we do travel. We're flipping it all around. And so we changed, food's there on the bus when we land at the airport. And we go and we walk through wherever we land, no matter what time. We've done it at 10 o'clock at night, depending upon, flights get delayed and things happen. Mm-hmm. But we switched up our entire routine and the pregame and from shoot around and everything. And I think that we've really seen the byproduct of that, and we've been able to win on the road.
When there's been adversity, and there has been in the early part of this conference season, a lot of that due to playing a lot of great competition, and then also off-the-field adversity, missing a couple key pieces on Saturday, how do you go about motivating the team, especially when you're going on the road and the spring semester's getting ready to start and things aren't going right in the games that have played early on in the conference season?
We have talked a ton on our basketball team and our program about resiliency, that we want to be defined when this season is over, that we were a resilient group of people. Because that, when you're able to be resilient, you're able to bounce back really, really fast. And sometimes that's during the middle of the game. So when you're having a bad game, you don't have to have it be an entire bad game, right? You may have had a bad 4-minute segment, and now we're back and we're doing better. And so we're a resilient team. So as adversity hits us, we're looking it right in the face and we're going to get it. And I think that starts with our approach and our attitude toward it. And so when we have positive attitudes and everybody's pulling in the same direction, we're really, really tough team. And today we will finish. Every year we read a book. And right now we are reading the No Complaining Rule. It's a John Gordon book. And we'll finish that book today. And one of it is you always bring a solution to a problem. And then you're able to bring a complaint and add a but to it. So the other day we kind of had a messy sandwich on the bus. And it was like, oh, Coach, why would you order all these messy sandwiches? And I immediately said, but we're very thankful that we have something to eat, right? So it's a really cool book that we're just about to finish, and the kids refer to the book quite often, and I'm proud of them for embracing those things. If they finish their careers and Coach taught me how to set a better screen or how to shoot it a little bit better, that's not success to me. Success to me is when they're walking away and they're able to show resiliency when they don't get the job that they really, really wanted, or when something doesn't go perfectly in their lives, they're able to bounce back from that and come and be successful. And I think that's what basketball is teaching us.
I want to talk about Jada Payne briefly, someone we've talked about several times on and off the air, who you think could be a NBA draft pick when it comes down to it, when her career is done. Still has another year and a half left at East Carolina. But the game on Saturday was really the first game where she came out and took over the basketball game. And I'm interested to know, as someone who recruited her and the way she's played, what did you think about the performance, and more particular, what kind of a player that she is?
Well, Jada's who you want 15 of. The level of her intensity and her striving to be the best that she can be. And so the other night, and it was Jada, but it was also several of our other kids, didn't play as well as we should have at home. And we haven't lost very many games in Minji's Coliseum. And it was late at night, and they're still in that gym, and they're still working because we demand perfection as a staff. But I think internally, through their own drive, they all want to be the best that they can be. So whether it's Jada Payne or it's a Bria Trice or it's Janisha Ebron, all of them really, truly want to be successful, and they're open for it. And they're going, hey, I'm a sponge, Coach. Just show me, teach me, tell me, help me go and be as successful as I can possibly be. And I think that our staff does an amazing job in the recruiting, and we're going and recruiting kids who want to play in the WNBA. And kids who understand that to get there will not be easy. And to get there, you may have disappointment. but never strive to go and reach what truly their goals are.
You're listening to the first ever edition of Heather Macy Live, our maiden voyage on WZMB 91.3. My name is Josh Graham, here with the fifth-year head coach of East Carolina women's basketball, Heather Macy. And right now the team has 10 wins now, reached that plateau, 1-4 in conference play, played a lot of great opponents. And I've asked this question often, and I'm interested to hear your response now. What have we learned so far up to this season about this ball club?
Well, first off, I really like coaching this team, and that's not every year, right? Mm-hmm. The other thing I think that we're learning as a program is that we have a blueprint of what it's going to take to be successful here, and we must always stick to that blueprint. There can be no compromise in what we are doing. And the other part, too, is I'm going to tell you, I really like our seniors. And the big thing is Tatiana Chappell and Janisha Ebron, they don't get talked that much about. You know, they're not putting up double-doubles and this. But I'm going to tell you something. Those kids are 4-year program kids who know what it takes to be successful here, have gone through the lows, have come back through the highs, and we're going to send them out on an awesome note. And, I'm going to tell you, those kids have been so much fun to coach. I've loved them like crazy. And to see them, like Tot hit 2 great shots and some post-move situations that we run for. Different players that Tot really hasn't capitalized on this year. And I'm telling you, I sat there, and this may be showing my age a little bit, but man, I felt like I was her mom when she was making those shots. And Ja replaced up and nailed a 3 in the second half the other night. And I was like, yes, there you go. And I find myself just pulling for them so much because they've done so much for this program that really doesn't get talked about enough. But those are 2 kids that Janisha's already finished her undergrad degree and working on her master's, and then Tot's in one class to finish up and doing some volunteer work and doing some internships, and those kids are truly what student athletes are.
Janisha Ebron with roots at Eastern North Carolina, being from Winterville and going to South Central High School, and also someone who transitioned from being a wing player to a point guard and doing so well, as we've seen on the stat sheet. Tatiana Chappell, as you mentioned, has really developed and has been really for years a staple on the defensive end, and I talked to her yesterday. She's really excited about her Ohio State Buckeyes playing tonight and the national championship game against Oregon. But looking a little bit forward, this week you're playing at Tulsa, and it's the start of the spring semester. You're going on the road on Wednesday, playing a Golden Hurricane team that you can't overlook.
No, I mean, Tulsa's a good basketball team that scores really well. They're got scores at all 5 positions, but it's going to be the key if we can use that momentum and the style of play in which we're playing, and we're really staying within the system and understanding that the key is us defending. And it's going to be a great challenge because Tulsa scores the ball really, really well. And are we going to sit down at all 5 positions and guard and stay in front and then do an awesome job of not fouling? And I think that's what we did a much better job the other night.
And then next up, you have Memphis at home, back at Minges Coliseum, a 2 p.m. tip-off on Sunday against the Memphis Tigers. A tough loss, 60-57 in overtime, just over a week ago. But it's early on in the conference season, and you're already seeing an opponent twice.
I know. That's a little bit of an interesting deal. I mean, obviously, from a coach and player perspective, we want to think one at a time and not get ahead of ourselves. But, having played Memphis, a week ago or something.
Yep.
And we have several of those through this year. So we need to get comfortable being able to go a week and play the opponent once again. I believe we do the same thing with Tulsa. Mm-hmm. That was a really tough loss on the road. I know everybody has kind of a nasty taste in their mouth with that Memphis loss. But you got to know first you have to take care of – we have to go back on the road down to Tulsa, and we need to play incredibly well and just continue to build momentum. I mean, we started the conference season a little bit rocky. That may be the best thing for us as we go into February and March.
Another thing that's great about this conference, I was talking with the voice of the men's basketball team and football team, Jeff Charles, and he said the American Conference feels like a league again, where you have Conference USA, so many moving parts, and 16 teams. You don't even play everybody. With the exception of UCF, I think you play every single team in this conference. So I think that adds something. What do you think?
I think it's a great league. We're excited to be a part of the American Conference, and the support there has been great. So we've had, Barb Jacobs has been around a ton for our games, and you're seeing that they're supporting us and they're helping us through the transition, and they're so helpful. Hey, what can we do? And our big thing has been, I wish we'd have started a little bit better breaking into the league, but I thought we've been super competitive. I thought we've been up for the challenge, and I think our best basketball is ahead. And, to try to make a a positive out of the start. Heck, we haven't played well at all this year. And so all of a sudden we're starting to do that, and I think we started to do that against Houston. So our best basketball is going to be as we progress forward. Now that's some exciting things we can all look forward to.
East Carolina, Tulsa, 7 o'clock Eastern tip-off. We'll be on the air around 6:45 for some pregame thoughts, and then, of course, the play-by-play here on WZMB Sunday at 2 o'clock. It is Memphis, East Carolina. You can go out to Minges Coliseum or catch the game here on WZMB. We'll get our first break and then come back, have a little bit more fun here on Heather Macy Live, the maiden voyage on WZMB 91.3. A little bit of John Mayer brings us back on a Monday afternoon. Heather Macy Live. From what I understand, you're a bit of a John Mayer fan.
Listen, John Mayer and some Java City coffee. I don't know that my day can get any better than this.
Yeah, it's a little bit rainy outside, but what better to do than sit down and listen to head coach Heather Macy talk a little basketball, and we'll get a little bit more familiar with Coach Macy and how she got started in a little bit. Itiana Taylor in about 10-15 minutes. Talk about what she's been able to do, transitioning from the junior college ranks and coming to East Carolina and having a huge impact. 23 points, 19 rebounds against Syracuse about a week ago, and then coming back home to the state of Texas. She played at Houston, but her real homecoming, being from just outside Fort Worth, would be on January the 21st when the Pirates visit SMU. Okay, so you went to Greensboro College, and you graduated in 2000.
Now, Josh, there's sometimes women do not want to use dates and ages.
But you're
less facts.
You're so young.
About this. There you go.
You're so young, though.
Keep telling me that. I love it, Josh.
All right, and then you finished your studies at Southern Miss, and I just thought that Southern Miss is a team that we unfortunately don't get to see anymore. But you have some memories from there. No,
I do. All right, so I finished. I was a Division II assistant coach, and they sent me to grad school. And Southern Miss has this summer program, so you get to go 2 summers. It's an accelerated grad school, and so I thought, hey, this will be great. I'd never been to Mississippi, had never gone out of North Carolina to coach or for school, and so I'm going to head down to Southern Miss. And I'm like, all college students, grad students, we're on a budget, and so I had a Grand Am, and I'm talking like. I got it when I was 16 years old, and I was real particular over it. And so I packed it down, and I had my bike on the back of this thing, and I traveled down a 10-hour ride down to Southern Miss. And I got hottest place I had ever been. I'm talking. I thought I knew what hot was. No, I didn't know what hot was. I was having to take a shirt to change into as I walked to class. So the summertime when our kids complain about, oh, coach, it's so hot, trying to get it. No, it's not. If you're not bringing a change of clothes with you when you're taking that 15, 20-minute walk it's easy. So here we were looking at, I go down there, do it 2 summers, homesick. I mean, man alive, I was homesick. That 10 weeks could not have gone by fast enough. So I come home, and here we are, less than, 6 years later. And I'm here at East Carolina, and it's in the league, and so we're going to take our first trip to Southern Miss. And we pull up to Pitt Greenville Airport, and our bus pulls right up, and we get on a charter plane. Now remember, it wasn't X amount of years ago, right, that I was in a Grand Am driving that 10-hour trip with a bicycle on the back. Listen, I had $100 to my name for the summer, and I said, okay, I'm going to take that $100, and I have a bad candy habit for anyone who knows me. Bring me gummy bears and you have my heart. And so here I am, trying to ration myself on sugar and candy. And, I was in great shape by the time that summer was over. $100, and now I'm in a charter plane pulling up. And I'm going to tell you something. You want to talk about keeping things in perspective? Where we landed and we drove through, and the bus I stayed at Elam Arms dorm, and it drove by there on the way to the gym, and it just kind of all flashed back. And for me, it was one of those signs of hey, if you're not where you want to be right now, just give it some time, some hard work, and some dedication, and you'll get to be exactly where you want to be. So that was an amazing situation for me to show back up at a place that I considered I was roughing it through those 2 summers, to show back up in a charter plane, and just so thankful for the growth that I experienced during that time.
That's quite some story. Head coach Heather Macy here on her radio show, Heather Macy Live, and You became a head coach at 26 years old. It's quite remarkable.
Yeah,
You
some
were young.
AD was crazy enough to hire me at 26. And Bobby Stewart, I don't know what you were thinking. But thankful, he's a great friend of mine, but so thankful that he gave me an opportunity at such a young age because, you fake it till you make it. I was faking it and faking it big time. But 10 years now. This is my 10th year as a head coach.
So how did you get to that point when did you decide that coaching's for me? For me, it was easy. When you're coming up trying to be a radio broadcaster, I joked with you yesterday, but I'm kind of serious. I played sports, but I knew that I wasn't going to be set out to be a pro athlete. I talked a lot and loved sports. So what do? You go on the radio and talk about sports. When does one figure out, especially one who played basketball and other sports, that coaching's where I want to go?
I always knew I wanted to stay involved with basketball. That just the love of it. And, I was in the gym shooting the other morning and kind of reflective and went, oh, man, now I remember. Sometimes when you're not in there, you're not working at it, and it's all verbal, you forget how good it feels to get into the rhythm of shooting the basketball and handling the basketball. And so I've always just loved basketball. And then, I knew that I had a gift of motivating and influencing and being able to impact other people. And so what avenue was I going to do that? I didn't know. And so God just placed it to where basketball was my avenue to influence and impact young people. But, I think it starts with a passion, and the passion for me was playing the game. And so now, as I got into it and I finished my playing career, I worked toward it. No different than I think you are doing currently, Josh, is that I was coaching an AAU team. I was running summer basketball camps. I was running like the blue chip basketball, and I was running all those events in North Carolina, and just realized that I had the bug and I had it really bad, and I loved the recruiting side, and I wanted to coach, and I set kind of incremental goals for myself and got into coaching right out of undergrad. I remember my mom saying to me, why don't you get a real degree, like be a nurse or be a teacher? I said, I don't want to get my certification. I'm going to coach, and I'm going to get a business degree. And you're so vague back then. What does that mean? And I remember when I got my first job, I went to Greensboro College, went to private school. Mom and Dad paid for my college, and I said, I got a job. First thing your parents are going to ask you, how much money are you going to make? And I said, I'm $10,000. Can you believe that they're going to pay me $10,000 to coach basketball? And my mom kind of hugged the phone up on me, I'm pretty sure. But you got to do those type things to kind of break into it. It's the kind of business this is, and I've never done it and thought, I'm doing it for that reason. We're doing it for much, much bigger reasons than that. It's not about the time that you put in, but it is about the difference that we're making.
And I talked to assistant coach Creighton Jones about the type of player that you were, and he claims that he's seen some video of you playing and how crafty of a player standing at 5'3" you were coming up the ranks.
Well, first, CJ's lying. He hasn't seen any video. Because there
sure
wasn't even video then. I mean, was there video then? Like VHS?
I think there was. I mean, Adam Millers, he's the expert on this. Our fine sports information director sitting over here, and I don't know if video does exist, but I think now we have reason to try and find one if there is. So if it's out there, we're going to find it.
Well, since we know there's no video out there, I was an incredible basketball player.
What kind of player was Coach Macy? My
coach would have probably told you that I just like to shoot and that I only played from three-point line to three-point line. I didn't have any interest in doing very much besides shooting. And I did pass a little. I think he didn't give me enough credit for the passing that I did. But I think I was an okay passer, but I will admit I never saw a shot that I did not like. As soon as I walked in the gym, I was pulling it.
What kind of challenges is provided to a 26-year-old head coach? When you come in, what kind of challenges are there?
Well, there's a ton. I mean, I think first you're trying to fight your age. So you tend to project differently. I think you tend to, you try not to dress like a 26-year-old. Because we would have recruits on campus, and it was important that those parents felt comfortable that I was going to be able to take care of their kid and the responsibility side of that. I think I fought that for a while, but it's a great challenge because it pretty much throws you in the fire, and it says, are you going to be able to do this? Or you're not going to be able to do this. Are you going to be able to handle this? Because you don't have, coaching is not a job that you can keep for 6 or 7 years to kind of figure it out. You figure it out in a year, you don't figure it out. And so I was very fortunate. I had a great AD. I had tremendous coaching mentors that helped me figure it out more quickly than I could have done on my own.
How did ECU become a part of the picture in 2010?
Well, I had been a head coach for 5 years at the time. I was down at Francis Marion, we were incredibly successful. And, Terry Holland called and said, hey, we'd like to get you up here and talk to you a little bit about becoming our new head coach. So I'm just very thankful for the opportunity.
And now you're a head coach of the American Athletic Conference and have your own radio show on Heather Macy Live right here on WZMB 91.3.
Does it get any better, Josh? I don't know that it gets better than Heather Macy Live, hosted by Josh Graham.
No, I don't.
I've made it today. I've made it.
It can get far better than that. But there's something I'm interested in. The fact that you got the music on the iPhone now. I'm interested in what type of music you'll listen to. You mentioned I mentioned a couple going on to into the break. John Mayer we played coming back in. But what type of music does Coach Macy listen to, or what do you got going on the iPod?
First off, isn't it cool that you can put that music on your phone?
Yeah.
And wow, who would have thought that?
What a novel concept.
Yeah, who would have thought? But, Sam Smith, I guess, is on there right now when I was coming over just a little bit ago. But,
good stuff.
I like a lot of different music. I'm pretty diverse in my selection whether I'm working out, and I think there's some Drake on there. So you name it, and I probably know just enough to be dangerous about it.
How much influence does the players have on what you listen to?
Ton. That's who put us all my music on my phone. So obviously,
any names in particular?
Some names I can't even say on the radio.
Okay.
But they put all that music on my phone, and so every time we go and we have pregame music, I'm never not in the know, right? So whatever they're warming up to, I know all the words of it.
Okay. See, that's the interesting stuff. The hard hitting stuff here.
No Flex Zone. I'm on that one.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not
young and hip. I'm young and hip. I'm into it.
I'm far from that. Very far from that. But before we take a break and get to Itiana Taylor on the other side, let's talk about her briefly and the type of player she's been for you coming in to East Carolina as a junior college transfer.
Well, IT is just such a worker. And she's always got a smile on her face. I don't know if you've ever ran into IT. I mean, that smile will just melt your heart, right? Mm-hmm. And so she looks like she's really having fun.
Thick Southern accent, Texas accent.
Oh, man. Rides horses. I mean, she's really an interesting kid. Great mom and dad, supporter. They're around all the time. But I'll tell you an interesting deal. We were playing at home a couple games ago, and IT hadn't played really well. She was having a really bad game, and I noticed in the timeout, she was kind of looking away as we were going over stuff, and she was like she was getting herself zoned in. And so at first I was going to say something to her, like, IT, hey, pay attention to what we're doing. And the more I looked over, I was like, wow, she's narrowing her focus right now. She hasn't played the well what she expects to play. She was narrowing her focus, and she came out, and it was back-to-back buckets, defensive stop, rebound, dove on the floor, and I brought her over, and I said, thank you, because I knew exactly what she had done. She was in as focused as she needed to be as she got that game started. She showed some maturity. She narrowed that focus back in, and then finished with an incredible game. She
is an outstanding player and a great character, has a great personality as well, and I think that comes across in the interview we had with her, which we'll bring to you on the other side of a break. Coach Macy, I think it's been pretty successful, this entire Heather Macy Live project we have going on here.
Well, Josh, you make it easy. I mean, you're the best out there.
Oh, you're just too kind. Anyway, we'll take a break and be back for more Heather Macy Live after this. Welcome back to Heather Macy Live here in our Mendenhall Radio studio. So glad you are with us on our maiden voyage Monday afternoon, rainy Greenville, North Carolina. However, wherever you are listening, we appreciate that. So many ways to consume today's show, whether it's live on our stream at www.ecu.edu/WZMB, the TuneIn app available on all of your smartphones, tablets, and mobile devices, or, of course, the typical way over the radio waves. We'll try to get this archived and out to you, and if you are listening that way, we appreciate that as well. Just got done talking with Coach Macy, and every single week we'll have a Pirate profile, and Coach Macy talked about Itiana Taylor going into the break and the type of person she was and how she was able to dial in her focus on a particular occasion. But last week, she had 23 points and 19 rebounds, both being career highs in a game against Tulane. And then she played in Pflugersville, Texas, before coming to Weatherford Community College and then East Carolina University, playing in her home state Saturday against Houston. We'll do so again January the 21st against the SMU Mustangs. Yesterday, I had a chance to catch up with the junior college transfer and East Carolina junior forward Itiana Taylor, and here's how that sounded.
Itiana Taylor, who is in her first year with East Carolina, and looking at this first off, this is head coach Heather Macy's first ever talk radio show, and you're a part of it. What do you think of your coach having a radio show?
I think it's really cool. I mean, a lot of people get to hear what she has to say about a basketball team, and it's going really good so far. So.
And you're the first one to be a part of it.
Yeah, woohoo!
And your nickname, they call you IT, correct?
Yes.
So that's what they know you as, so we'll call you that as well. So IT, it was a bit of a homecoming for you this past weekend, playing in the state of Texas. What was that like, as you guys got a big win, of course?
It was really good. I mean, I was happy we got the win. We came out successful. We did everything that we were told to do, and it was just really it made it 10 times better because my family was there, had a crowd full of people, and I mean, it was just back at home.
Well, it's going to be the real homecoming in a couple weeks, right? You guys go to SMU.
Yeah.
We'll be at SMU on January the 21st, because you grew up in Fort Worth, which is how far from Dallas?
Dallas, it's probably about 45 minutes.
So that's the one where you're going to get all the families coming. How much family do you think will be at that game?
Well, since it's on a weekday, probably not that much. Mm-hmm. But I know my mom was going to be there.
So you're originally from Pflugersville, Texas.
Yes.
So what about you, and you played at Weatherford Community College in Fort Worth, what about you screams Texas?
I have an accent. I ride horses.
What are the names of the horses? How many you got?
I only had one. His name was Garfield, and that was my baby.
Okay, I'm not sure if I've told you this, but I actually have an aunt who has a horse named Texas, where it's a white horse and has a black spot on it that's in the shape of Texas. So I got a connection there. I was in Texas myself for a good bit, but you were someone who knows Texas cuisine, and you've been a part of Greenville cuisine as well, and you're our ECU women's basketball food expert. So I got to ask the age-long question that many have asked and many have disagreed on. Which kind of barbecue is better, Texas or North?
Texas.
You have to finish the question.
Texas, no doubt.
Why is that?
Well, it's just the way they smoke the barbecue. So it's really good.
And the North Carolina barbecue is a little bit more vinegary. I'm not sure. Is that not your style?
Nah, it's got to be smoked.
Okay, but you didn't get a chance to get the food yet in Houston, I don't think, to get the Texas food that you're used to. What type of food do you miss from Texas that you might be able to get maybe in Dallas?
I mean, Houston, you can't go wrong with the barbecue. But in Dallas, I would say
there's a lot of different ways you can go.
Yeah.
It's like I remember when I was in that area, Brahms was big.
Yep, Brahms.
I think you got In-N-Out Burger, Whataburger. I don't know.
Whataburger, and I think In-N-Out, because they just built an In-N-Out in Dallas, so that's pretty big right now. So
we got to get over there then. But let's talk a little basketball now. And you're coming out of Pflugersville High School. You went the junior college route first, but when did East Carolina become part of the picture for you?
Well, East Carolina became part of the picture when it was like my sophomore year, and I was beginning of my sophomore year actually, and it was crazy how Coach Markham came in, because when I first seen him, he was at another school, and I was with my best friend. And we went to the same school, and he seen me. He was like, she's pretty nice, because that time I had brought my best friend a bowl of spaghetti because lunch was about to close.
Right.
And he was like, she has a good heart. So after that, he's always just been in contact with me somehow through her or just reaching out to me. So that's how.
And you talk about John Markham, who came from Indiana State, now here to East Carolina. What did Coach Markham tell you about ECU, and what did you already know about the school, if anything, before you came here?
Well, I knew I had a family member that went to ECU.
Did you?
Yeah.
Who was that?
David Robinson.
David Robinson. Wow. Not I'm sure the David Robinson we all know, but when did he go to East Carolina?
He's here now, but his dad went to East Carolina too.
Wow.
So that's crazy. And I was like, my cousin goes here. And he was just telling me, Coach Markham told me that they had good family, it's nothing but good people over here. They care. It's a good area. So,
do you think that going the junior college route before coming to play in Division I better prepares you to have success immediately more than coming the high school route and starting and playing as a freshman?
Yes, I think going the JUCO route is a lot better because you also don't prepare yourself for in the game, but you prepare yourself in the classroom. How much it takes to have so many classes and so many hours, and just being able to put those all together it's different from high school.
Being joined by Itiana Taylor, junior forward for East Carolina, on Heather Macy Live. Looking at coming here to East Carolina, though, it's Division I basketball. You're in the same conference as schools like Cincinnati, Connecticut, and among others. I mean, what was your first thought when you heard American Athletic Conference and something you're going to be competing in?
I was like, oh yeah, I like this. I'm ready for the challenge. I'm ready to compete.
And on top of that, you had a bunch of people like you who were junior college transfers. Does that make fitting in a lot easier and coming in?
A little, but we kind of have the same background. We both came from transferred junior colleges, so we kind of understand about some things. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you speak of that because you have 6 junior college transfers who just came in the offseason alone, including you, and then 4 came the Division I route who are sitting out this year. But Greenville's a whole lot different than Texas. Fort Worth area especially is very populated, but then Greenville, it's a lot smaller. It's a college town.
Yeah.
Was there any type of culture shock for you a little bit coming here?
How big like ECU is, like as a town, ECU is into it, like
with their sports teams.
Yeah, with the sports teams. Texas, but it wasn't as like ECU. Like I've never seen Texas do what ECU does.
When did that moment click for you? I know I was talking with a couple of basketball players, and they mentioned they went to a football game. They saw 50,000 people supporting the football team, and you see that following. When did it click for you?
Well, it clicked for me on my visit, but then also when I got here for the first football game. I remember like it was yesterday, North Carolina game.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. And I was just walking to the game. Everybody was like, purple, gold. I was like, whoa.
How have these last couple of months been transitioning in? You said it was easier to pick up from the academic side of things, knowing what you did in the community college route. But being here at East Carolina at a bigger school, what has that been like for you?
It's been really good. I've had good times. It's just, just being able to understand I'm not by my family. I'm not 3 hours away. It's just, that's the part that's challenging, but it's getting better every day.
Mm-hmm. And after a basket against Wisconsin, it was in the Bahamas. We were in Freeport. You pull out the guns. You pull out the biceps. What was that all about?
It was just in the moment. I was live.
And you bring that to this team, and that's something Coach Macy has mentioned about. Is that something you take pride in, having that personality that you have and that's coming across right now and bringing it onto the floor?
Yes, I try to bring it out all the time, even off the court sometimes. But
from a basketball standpoint, though, what do you feel you bring to this team? Just about a week ago, you score 23 points, career high, grab a career high 19 rebounds, and that's something that they really rely on you on both facets. But what do you feel you provide to this team?
I feel I provide energy and like just hypeness and trying to get everybody into the game. So,
well, thank you for your visit on the first ever edition of Heather Macy Live.
Thank you.
That was junior forward Itiana Taylor.
Good to be joined by Itiana Taylor, and she's a really fun player to be around, and I'm sure that came across in the interview. Hope it did. We are glad you were with us on a Monday afternoon in Greenville, North Carolina. A bit rainy outside, and the Pirates still are smiling after an 87-46 win against Houston on Saturday. They will get set for Tulsa. A correction, the game is 7 Central Time. Tip-off Eastern Time will be 8 o'clock on Wednesday, we'll have the call and be on the air around 7:45 here on WZMB. Sunday, can't really mess up the time difference when the game's at home. Memphis coming in, 2 p.m. tip, the Tigers and the Pirates. East Carolina trying to bounce back after the 60-57 loss in the first meeting on January the 4th. We'll be back to close the first ever edition of Heather Macy Live next. Wrapping up the first ever edition of Heather Macy Live in our WZMB studios in Mendenhall. Our thanks to head coach Heather Macy for dropping by and providing her thoughts on a lot of the different East Carolina women's basketball topics, in addition to bringing some great stories, and including the Southern Miss story she had and other things. We learned that all her players apparently provide what she listens to on the iPod, and you can listen to music on your phone. Things that we learned today. Our thanks also to the East Carolina Athletics Department for helping put this together. Yolanda Davis on the other side of the glass, and everyone who makes these broadcasts possible. Johnny Martinez from the production standpoint. And just a reminder, we will be on the next 10 Mondays, including next week on Martin Luther King Day. We'll be here to bring you Heather Macy Live, 11 broadcast, and the first time this has been done for East Carolina women's basketball. Also a reminder, we'll be on the air 7:45 Wednesday, East Carolina, Tulsa at the Bach Center, I believe it is. BOK, it's pronounced. They had a conference tournament there a couple of years ago. Both East Carolina and Tulsa coming to the American Athletic Conference in the first year for both teams. Tulane, the other team that came in this season in the AAC. East Carolina got its 10th win on Saturday, and SMU, now the only team in the American Athletic Conference without a victory this season. They lost to UConn yesterday by a substantial margin, an impressive performance for the Huskies. ECU trying to recover from a tough start to conference play, and if you're looking at just records, it is going to be a much easier slate than what the Pirates had to deal with to start the AAC slate, facing the preseason ranked number 2 team in the conference. East Carolina was 3rd, by the way, and that being the South Florida Bulls on the road in South Florida. And then you have UConn at home, and everyone knows what the Huskies are capable of. And then last week you have the Tulane Green Wave coming in, playing very well, shot 56% against the Pirates in a 76-63 win against East Carolina. And that is all we have for you on today's show. Our thanks to everyone who makes it possible, and we'll be back again noon to 1 to do it here in our Mendenhall radio studios with the coach of the Lady Pirates, Heather Macy. Thank you for listening to Heather Macy Live.